Thank you, Ms Wishart. And that concludes the debate on salmon farming in Scotland. It's now time to move on to the next item of business, which is an urgent question, and I call Stephen Kerr.
To ask the Scottish Government what its response is to the Project Willow report.
Deputy First Minister.
Well, I thank the member for this opportunity to address the issue, and can also confirm that the Government were intending anyway to put a statement on this matter to Parliament. But the publication of Project Willow, which sets out a transformative future for Grangemouth, is to be welcomed. It marks an important milestone in our ambition to secure a long-term and sustainable future for Grangemouth that enshrines the industrial cluster's contribution to Scotland's economy and make it a source of high-quality jobs on an ongoing basis. In terms of next steps, Scottish Enterprise and the UK Government Office for Investment will now lead work to bring these suggestions and other projects to fruition by working collaboratively across the private and the public sectors to ensure the necessary investment to take them forward.
Stephen Kerr.
Well, I thank the Deputy First Minister for her response to my first question, and I would agree with her that we need to have as much parliamentary time as possible to discuss and indeed debate this matter. Now, I welcome the publication of the Project Willow report, but let's be absolutely clear, serious uncertainties remain. And the biggest of them all, after all this time, is the position of Petro Ineos. The success of Project Willow and any real chance of attracting private investment hinges entirely on the availability of the Grangemouth site. If that site isn't available, then these project proposals simply won't happen. So when will Petro Ineos finally provide clarity on their intentions? And more crucially, have they given any indication at all to the Scottish Government that they are actually willing to invest in any of these proposed projects?
Deputy First Minister.
I thank the member, and I would agree with the principle of his question, which is that having received Project Willow, there's now an opportunity using UK Government and Scottish Government funding to work with the private sector and to make those investments, and that Petro Ineos remains critical to the success of that process. He will appreciate that it was Petro Ineos that commissioned this work, and that they have acted as the lead partners reflective of their role as owner and operator of the Grangemouth refinery, of course, with UK Government and Scottish Government funding. And we have committed to working with them throughout the next stage, recognising the strategic importance that they have in securing a long-term and sustainable future for the cluster. So, in short, we recognise the important role that they play. There is now funding available through both governments, and we'll continue to work with them to secure the opportunities that the report highlights for their site.
Stephen Kerr.
The Deputy First Minister has been very careful in what she said, and I respect that, but she didn't really answer my direct questions. And that is a cause of serious concern to the people of Grangemouth. And the reality is that Petro Ineos have seen Project Willow, the report, throughout its journey. And as the Deputy First Minister rightly says, the Scottish and UK governments invested £1.5 million in this report. And the very least, I think, many of us would have expected by now is that Petro Ineos would have declared or shown their hand. Because right now, there are over 400 highly skilled jobs at Grangemouth that are set to vanish in the coming months. These are real jobs, well-paid jobs, disappearing today. Meanwhile, Project Willow talks about jobs that might appear in 10, 15 years. So let's be absolutely clear. What is the first project of the 9 proposed projects that is likely to secure investment? And what is the realistic timescale for getting that project up and running? And when exactly will the people of Grangemouth get the clarity that they deserve on their futures?
Deputy First
All
Minister.
very important questions. And just in terms of Petro Ineos, he will appreciate that I can't speak for Petro Ineos, but I can speak for the Scottish Government in terms of how we will work with them, and we recognise their strategic role. In terms of projects that are in the short term, the projects that are projected to be near term are focused on recycling of plastics, ABE biorefining, anaerobic digestion and fuel switching. If all 9 potential projects are taken forward, then that represents the base case, and Project Willow could create circa 800 jobs over the next decade and a bit, and contribute £600 to £700 million in GVA. So we have to break down the projects that are closest to being realised quickly in terms of protecting jobs, with an eye on the horizon to those projects that will be deliverable in the medium term. We are, of course, actively engaged in supporting the workforce that I accept are under immense pressure right now, through PACE and so on, in terms of other opportunities. And he will know in the wider Grangemouth site that there are a number of those high-growth opportunities that are looking to attract skilled workers, and the Grangemouth workforce is extremely highly skilled.
Thank you. I call Michelle Thompson.
Thank you, Presiding Officer. Project Willow, the study represents something that is the art of the possible, but funding and business appetite will always be the driver. The £200 million that may be available to draw down depends on projects being investable solutions according to the National Wealth Fund criteria, not the UK Government. Business will only take a risk if there's policy and regulatory certainty, which there is not. So how confident is the Cabinet Secretary that anything will come of this report? And does she recognise this is, quite frankly, another failure of UK Labour to Scotland?
Deputy First Minister.
The member is absolutely right to say that the value of any report is in how quickly it can be delivered. And the 9 projects, the 9 technologies that have been shortlisted, were shortlisted from over 300 technologies, 120 stakeholder interviews. They represent the greatest opportunities for Grangemouth, but the key now will be to ensure that that funding that has been announced, that UK Government National Wealth Fund of £200 million plus the Scottish Government's £25 million, is invested in propositions, and it leverages private sector investment. So at the end of the day, she's right to say that the UK Government money will only support investable propositions. It will not take the form of grants, and therefore we will push the UK Government, as I have already, to ensure that their funding is as flexible as possible, is available now, and will meet the needs of business. And alongside business, of course, we are working with the unions and the workforce as we take these next steps, recognising the highly skilled workforce at Grangemouth. So the key now is, having set this out, that the money is available as soon as possible to be invested in the most investable propositions in collaboration with business.
Thank you. I call Richard Leonard.
Thank you, Presiding Officer. And can I remind members of my voluntary register of trade union interests? Much of Project Willow's outcomes are set in the medium, even the long term. But as Keynes said, in the long run, we are all dead. 435 refinery workers face immediate redundancy. Nearly 3,000 workers in the supply chain are at risk. So will the Scottish Government be prepared to start to invest to save these jobs now? And will it work with others to convert the existing refinery to a sustainable aviation fuel and biofuel site now, rather than wait to build from scratch? Because these workers, this community, our economy cannot wait. We need decisive action now.
Deputy First Minister.
In the spirit of agreeing with too many people this afternoon, can I also agree with Richard Leonard on the point he made that the challenges now, and whilst Project Willow sets out some technologies that will take a little bit longer, there is an opportunity now. And can I repeat that the Scottish Government's £25 million is there to be invested as quickly as possible, and we've been pressing the UK Government to ensure that that £200 million is also also available as quickly as possible. There quite clearly are some projects that are in the near term. I listed some of them in my answer to Stephen Kerr. But specifically on sustainable aviation fuel, the UK Government has indicated their intention to bring forward a price certainty mechanism for the development of sustainable aviation fuel. That needs to be brought forward with urgency. So it's not just funding being available as a matter of urgency, it's also some policy changes that need to be made and can be made really quickly. We know that the UK Government has invested over £50 million in Teesside as part of their Advanced Fuels Fund, and with sustainable aviation fuel a clear recommendation in the report, and with the support of Richard Leonard, I think the UK Government needs to ensure that Scotland has the resources to manufacture SAF here in Scotland. So a couple of weeks ago I was down in London speaking to Michael Shanks on this precise point on how the policy changes can be made in short order to accompany the funding being made available in short order.
Julian Mackay.
Agreeing the operating principles of the delivery vehicle is one of the key issues in the next steps portion of the paper to ensure that we don't see a situation where a project set up benefits from public investment, extracts profit and then leaves workers in the lurch when conditions change. Could I ask the Deputy First Minister what the timescale is for agreeing these operating principles, how unions and workers will be involved in agreeing these principles, and what the Scottish Government will be doing to ensure that any funding comes with the appropriate strings to ensure that we see the projects we want to see with terms and conditions for workers that will last?
Deputy First Minister.
Julie Mackay has set out some of the criteria to making the investments, and I want to reassure her and others that we are keen to make those investments as quickly as possible to support businesses, but with an eye on how to retain the jobs and to support growth in the workforce as well, according to our fair work conditions. So we will work with the unions and the workforce as we take these next steps. We recognise the highly skilled workforce at Grangemouth. Their expertise is critical to secure a long-term and sustainable future for the site, and we will work as quickly as possible. We have ensured that Unite the Union have been well integrated into Project Willow, the regular standing committee meetings, and so we have been engaging with them on an ongoing basis on some of these questions.
Douglas Lumsden.
Thank you, Presiding Officer. We've heard from the Deputy First Minister that to deliver the 800 jobs, it will require a huge amount of private investment. I think it's £3.5 billion between now and 2040. So can the Deputy First Minister tell us a bit more about what engagement she's had with various businesses to see the appetite for such huge levels of investment from Petro Ineos and from other companies?
Deputy First Minister.
My colleague Gillian Martin engages with Petro Ineos on a regular basis through the industry board. I too have had engagement with a number of businesses that have expressed some interest. He will forgive me for not necessarily naming them, because I think that would be unfair and a conflict, a commercial issue. But I have engaged directly with a number of businesses expressing some interest in working in and around Grangemouth. And so I reassure him that at the end of the day, if we are to progress on these 9 projects, whilst there is Scottish Government and UK Government funding available, that is to leverage private sector investment. I think there is interest. We need to put in place the policy circumstances and environment to make these attractive and to ensure that we work with Petro Ineos, who have that strategic relationship to the site, as Stephen Kerr said.
Audrey Nicholl.
Thank you, Presiding Officer. The report highlights the need for an urgent decision on Acorn as carbon capture and storage, which is of enormous importance to the North East, could have a vital role to play in securing Grangemouth's future. In light of this, many will rightly be frustrated that the UK Government has repeatedly failed to prioritise investment in carbon capture and storage here in Scotland. Does the Cabinet Secretary agree with me that a green light for Acorn is long overdue, both for Grangemouth and industries in the North East?
Deputy First Minister.
Yes is the short answer, and we have been waiting for far too long for progress on Acorn. The Acorn project is a stand-alone industrial transport and storage project. It has been committed to by the previous UK government, and we are looking for a meaningful track to update urgently from the current UK government so that we can maintain momentum to provide investors with confidence. So it is vital to support the decarbonisation of Scotland's industry and the future of Greenmount. It will protect, it will create jobs, and as pointed out by business leaders last week, it will make a significant contribution to Scotland's economy.
Thank you. That concludes the urgent question. And there's one question to be put as a result of today's business, and that is that motion 16852 in the name of Finlay Carson, on behalf of the Rural Affairs and Islands Committee on salmon farming in Scotland, be agreed. Are we all agreed? Yes. The motion is therefore agreed, and that concludes decision time, and I close this meeting.